So how will you explain the knowledge? What do you understand by the knowledge? And here we are talking about the artificial intelligence. So we are talking about the knowledge in terms of artificial intelligence or in terms of a machine, right? And when you simply explain knowledge, knowledge is a particular information which you get by learning or experience, right? Or simple, you will say that a knowledge is an information or understanding and skills that you gain through learning or the experience here. So humans are the second unit is about the knowledge representation issues in the AI. So first we will discuss about the knowledge representation. So humans are best at understanding, reasoning, and interpreted knowledge. Human knows the things, what is knowledge, as a per their knowledge they perform various actions in the real world. So as a human and what we are expecting from the machine to work as a human in an artificial intelligence. So first we need to understand what is a knowledge and how the human works, how the neural networks works. The human work based on their reasoning, interpreting the knowledge and their understanding and solve their real world problems. But how machines do these things come under the knowledge representation. So we need to understand the knowledge representation. So there are three factors which are put into machine which make it valuable. What three factors you basically put into a machine? First is the knowledge, then the reasoning, and then is the intelligence. Now, what is the knowledge? The information related to the environment is stored in the machine, right? Somewhere the knowledge, here we can also say that about the past data or the past problems which has been solved or the algorithm which has been applied for a particular problem to solve has been has been stored in the machine. So knowledge, simply in terms of a machine, we are saying that the knowledge related to the environment is stored in the machine. Then reasoning. Now the ability of a machine to understand the stored knowledge. Now the ability of a machine is simply here we are talking about. Now machine will understand that knowledge. Now how the machine will understand that knowledge? Based on particular logic, right? Based on reading the data, how what steps they are following for reading that data or processing that data and then analyzing then that data to get the information from a data lake here, from a huge volume of a data. Then we are talking about the intelligence. Now, the ability of a machine to make decisions on the basis of a stored information. Now, how will the machine will make a decisions? By applying various algorithm or the processings on a data that is stored in a machine and then get a future prediction or can get a future information or basically get the insights from the data so that the data can be used and the representing that data in the form of information to solve a particular problem to make a decision that has been done. So when we want a machine to work as a human, basically we want three factors: knowledge, reasoning, and the intelligence. We want something has been stored in a data, right? Something has been stored as a data in the machine, which can be used by a machine to understand that data, that knowledge, and then that which can be used by a machine to make the decisions for a particular problem, to make the decision what solution need to be implemented for a particular problem. So three factors we are going to discuss: the knowledge, the reasoning, and the intelligence. Now, when we are talking about the knowledge representation, how to represent a knowledge. So a knowledge representation language is defined by two aspects. How? First is the syntax and then is the semantics. Syntax is simply the language that consists of a word or the sentence or a particular programming language, and the semantic is the meaning, is the logic. So the syntax of a language describes the possible configurations that can constitute a sentence. And the semantic determines the facts in a word to which the sentence refers. So here the logic or the reasoning we are saying that, or the meaning of a data we need to understand which sentence refer. For example, here we have taken the syntax of a language of a arithmetic expression says that if x and y are expressions denoting numbers, then x greater than y is the sentence about the numbers. It's just a sentence, not the understanding what is meaning of a x is greater than y. Then the semantic of the given language says that if x is greater than y is false, which means y is bigger than the x and the true otherwise. So in that case, the x is greater. From the syntax and the semantics, we can drive a interference mechanism for an agent that use the language. Now, what kind of agents we have discussed in a unit 1? Four kinds of agents or the language the agent particularly used. So, what comes under the semantics? Recall that the semantics of a language determine the fact to which a given sentence refers. Facts are a part of a word or simply a part of an environment here, right? A data here, right? That has been stored as a knowledge, right? So here we are simply saying, whereas the representation must be encoding in some way that can be physically stored within an agent or a particular object we are talking about. We cannot put the word inside a computer. We cannot put each and everything inside a computer. We need a lots of storage for that. Nor can we put it inside a human, or not, nothing as same we cannot do with a human also. So all reasoning mechanisms must operate in representation of effects. We need to implement various mechanisms rather than on the fact themselves, because sentences are the physical configuration of the part of the agents only, right? Now, what do you understand by the knowledge? We will first discuss again what is a reasoning. Reasoning must be a process of constructing new physical configurations from the old one. Definitely, to understand that data, to understand the data, to understand that knowledge, and then use that knowledge for the further. So proper reasoning should ensure that new configuration represent the fact that actually follow and the facts the old configuration represent here. We want to generate a new sentence that are necessarily true. Given that the old sentence are true, this relation between sentences is called the entailment. So here we are talking about how to use a particular knowledge or how to represent a particular knowledge and then interface, then providing the interface between the two. So in mathematical notation, simply we are saying that the relation of entailment between a knowledge base and a sentence is pronounced as KB. An interface procedure can be of two things. Given as a knowledge base we are saying that which is the stored data, it can be generate a new sentence. From a stored data, the new sentence can be generated. At the here we can say that first data is there that x plus y equal to 4. We can simply say that 4 is equal to x plus y. So this is a way to generate a new sentence from the existing one. So now again we will talk about the knowledge representation. What do you understand by the knowledge representation in AI? Is the window has been switched from knowledge reasoning to knowledge representation in AI. So now what is a knowledge representation in AI? Knowledge representation in AI refers to encoding the information about the world into the formats that an AI system can utilize to solve the complex tasks. So now this is a complete definition of reasoning, knowledge, right? So what do you understand by the knowledge representation in our artificial intelligence systems? It is encoding our information about the world into that formats that the particular machine can understand it, can reason it, and then use it to get the two particular future decisions or can utilize it to solve the complex task here. So this process involves machine to reason, to learn, and make decisions by structuring data in a way that the mirrors humans understanding, right? So knowledge representation क्या है आपका कि किस तरीके से आप मशीन के अंदर या आर्टिफिशियल इंटेलिजेंस में वी आर टॉकिंग अबाउट हाउ you encode the information into a AI systems that a particular machine can reason it or learn it or can make a decisions by structuring that data. So this diagram can understand with the help of this diagram we can understand the knowledge representation in a AI. What do you understand by the perception? What do you understand by the learning? What do you understand by the reasoning? What do you understand by the planning? And what do you understand by the execution? So this is basically the complete diagram as you can understand with the help of what do you understand by the knowledge representation that is totally linked to the reasoning and the learning, right? So here we have discussed this. So as with the help of a diagram, you can represent the knowledge in AI system. Now, what is the artificial intelligence? What do the artificial intelligence, what we expect from our artificial intelligence, right? What we expect from a machine. So artificial intelligence systems operate on data. We all know that from a very beginning, we are saying that a particular machine basically operate on data. You need to feed a problem, that is a data. The data already that is stored in a system, that is a knowledge of a machine. So however, raw data alone does not lead to the intelligence, definitely. We need that knowledge to be represented in a structured way. So AI must transform data into a structured knowledge. And the knowledge representation achieve this by defining the formats and the methods for organizing the information. With clear representation, AI systems solve the problems, make the decisions, and learn from the new experiences. So from here, you must have understand about the what is the knowledge representation in the AI. Whatever we are talking about, whether we are talking about the machine learning, whether we are talking about the artificial intelligence, somewhere you are talking about a data only. So when we are talking about a data, you must have studied about the database management systems also. You must have studied about the SQL also. You must have studied about the structured query language also. And you must know nowadays that the data is in a different kind of a formats. And now when we want machine to be work as a human, when we want artificial intelligence, so that machine should have a capability to transform that raw data in a structured knowledge that in a structured format that can be utilized to generate a new data for the decision making or generating the insights of our data. In a simple term, we are saying that the machine should be able to perform the analytics from the data, from a data pool. So here, simply the knowledge representation in terms of a AI. So what is the synergy of a knowledge and the intelligence? Knowledge and intelligence in AI share a symbiotic relationship as we have discussed. हमने अभी discuss किया what knowledge as a foundation. What knowledge represents? Knowledge provides the facts, the rules, the data. Example: traffic law for self-driving cars. Without it, intelligence lacks the raw material to act. जब तक आपको traffic rules नहीं पता होंगे, self-driving cars के you will be or the machine will not be able to take a decision according to the there. So intelligence as an application. So what is an intelligence as an application? Intelligence applies knowledge to solve the problems. What the intelligence applies? It applies knowledge to solve the problem. A robot using physics principle to navigate the terrain, right? So simply we are talking about, we have talked about the knowledge, reasoning, and the intelligence. So intelligence simply how to apply the knowledge or how to use its data pool or the data lake to solve a particular problem, right? Now, interdependence. The static knowledge becomes obsolete without adapting the intelligence. Definitely, the data is nothing if we are not using that data properly, if we are not getting the insights from the data. So, conversely, intelligence without knowledge cannot reason or learn. For example, an AI with no medical database cannot diagnose any disease. It needs to be have a database about the various medical conditions. Now, what is the synergy here? Effective AI systems merge robust knowledge bases that what with reasoning algorithms, the how, right? So simply what has been fed in our data plus how the reasoning algorithms will work. So when we are talking about the relationship between the two, we are talking about effective AI systems merge the robust knowledge bases. That means what has been present with the algorithm, with the various reasoning algorithm that represent how the problems will be solved. For example, nowadays you are using the chat GPT, which combine the vast knowledge, data knowledge with the transform models intelligence to generate a coherent text, right? If you want to search anything, solution of a particular problem, you go and write your problem and the solution according to application will be presented to you. So now, what are the core methods of knowledge representations that are present in AI?